Multiple perceptions. One event can lead to multiple perceptions. Each perception can lead to a separate UDIN. So for example, we look at the white balloon. This is just a fact. White balloons are just fact. Just by looking at that balloon, we can have many different perceptions at the same time about that white balloon. Each balloon that we perceive is their own EMAP. So if we look at the white balloon and we create a perception which is a red balloon, we get a red EMAP. If we look at the same white balloon and we create at the same time a blue balloon or a blue perception, we have a blue EMAP. If we look at the same white balloon and at the same time we created a red and a blue balloon, and we now create a pink balloon, a pink perception, that's also a separate EMAP. So let's take a look at how that works. So if I look at the white balloon and I have a perception, this is a green balloon. This is awful. This is very serious UDIN. The green balloon starts an EMAP with its own adaptation phase, with its own relief moment, and with its own restoration phase. For example, in the liver. When I look at this white balloon, besides the green perception, I can also have a pink perception. So now I have two EMAPs running. One with a blue balloon as a perception, one with a pink balloon as a perception. So now I have two UDINs based in the same event. So for example, I was robbed and I feel that my life is ending, and at the same time there's no escape. Two perceptions, two EMAPs, both with their separate phases, both with their own adaptation phase, with their own relief moment, with their own restoration phase, and with their own symptoms. But I also can have a blue perception. So now I have one event, one white balloon that creates three different perceptions, and each perception has a different EMAP, a different trigger, because that's based on the perception, their own adaptation phase and their own relief moment and their own restoration phase. So for example, this event could create three different symptoms. They all originate in the same event, but there are three different perceptions. Now let's take an example. A man who is working in the factory as a welder. And he creates big boats. One of those boats that you create the Palm Islands with. You suck up sand and you push it somewhere else. And this welder loses his job, which is a white balloon, which is a fact. Now, depending on their perceptions, the man who lost his job, he could have a perception like, yes, finally I can get out of this. I wanted to quit anyway. No, you didn't. They might also have a different perception. I lost my way of income. I cannot buy food anymore. I will starve, which is one of the perceptions, which is in this case a green perception. The green is not real, but by the way, the green is just to illustrate that there are different perceptions if you look at the balloon, right? So he might have a perception, I'm going to starve, which is an EMAP leading to liver issues. He might also have another issue, another perception, now I'll be all left alone by myself. Nobody's there to support me, which leads to kidney issues. Different perception, same event, different perception, different symptoms. They might have a third perception, blue glasses. Now I have no way to mark my territory. There's no way to make sure that I have my boundaries. This might lead to bladder issues. So one event, 3 different EMAPs, 3 different symptoms. Not only that, they might have additional perceptions. For example, they fired me because I was not good enough, which leads to a bone issue. They stabbed me in the back, which leads to a dermis issue. Important to remember is once the EMAP is started, they're all on their own. So the liver program has its own relief moment. The kidney program has its own relief moment. The bladder program has its own relief moment. So for example, if this man suddenly wins the lottery, the problem of the income, the survival, the buying food is solved, all right? So that means that the liver, which is triggered by survival, will go into restoration. However, that does not influence the kidney nor the bladder. He could join a support group to be able to really mark his territory. This is my support group, and really feel relieved by that. But it does not, that only influence the bladder program. It does not influence the kidney program. Does not have to influence the kidney program. It could, it does not have to. So each separate EMAP has its own adaptation phase, its own separate adaptation phase, its own separate relief moment. So based on one traumatic experience, the white balloon, with the 3 different perceptions, you might need to do 3 different clearings. And they might develop 3 distinct different symptoms. Let's give you an example. A 12-year-old girl had the first kiss with her boyfriend. The father heard about that and he walked into her room. He pulled away her blankets and said, "Now we need to teach you something." She froze and she experienced the following traumas. She was frightened. What is it about going on? I want to push him away, but I'm not allowed to push him away. And that left her with a motoric issue in her left hand. She could not move her left hand well. So she had a frightened perception. She had a sexual perception and she lost her period. She had a fear, disgust, fear and combined with yuck. What is a father about to do? Which led in this case to low blood sugar. She had a fear from behind. I did not see it coming, which developed into eye problems. So this one event, this one white balloon, now we need to teach you something. And pulling the blankets away. She had 4 different perceptions. She was frightened. She had a sexual problem. She had a sexual trauma. She had a fear, disgust perception, and she had a fear from behind perception. 4 different perceptions, 4 different UDINs, 4 different adaptation periods, 4 different relief moments, if there are any in this case. So always make sure that you differentiate for the client between the white balloon and one or multiple perceptions that they have.
Did you like it? Just give it a thumbs up and comment what you liked it so it can inspire other people too.